Hey, hi guys. Okay, so today we're gonna go over and we're gonna do some spiral review, and what that means is that we're gonna review some things that we already have gone over, and so we're gonna review greatest common factor and lowest common multiple, and I'm also gonna introduce a different way that you can think of these. So the first thing I want to review, and I want you to have your notebooks out for math. Again, this kind of it always makes me think, how is this looking? Okay. Okay, so for math, we're going to spiral review greatest common factor. And lowest common multiple. I'll give you a minute to copy these terms down. There it is. Hopefully. And what I first want to point out with greatest common factor, also known as the GCF, there's two things that I want to note on these. Greatest to 3. Greatest means the biggest, right? The biggest. Common means the same. And I think this is the key word to this, because a lot of kiddos confuse greatest common factor and lowest common multiple. But greatest common factor means that it goes inside the number. So its factor is something that can fit inside a number. So for instance, if I were to look at 12 and I was looking for factors of 12, I could say 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4. These are all factors. So the factors of 12 would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12, right? And in order to have a greatest common factor, a common number, I have to have two numbers at least two numbers. So for instance, if I was looking at the number 24, I was like, oh, okay, what are the greatest common factors between 12 and 24? So I'm going to think of numbers, and I know 1 times 24 is a possibility, 2 times 12, 3 times 8, 6 times 4, and that's it. And if I was to list these out, I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, and 24. And if I look at these two numbers, I notice right away that 1 is a common, 2 is a common, 3 is a common, 4 is a common, 6 is a common, and 12 is a common. And so these are common factors. But when I am asked to look for the greatest common factor, I need to find the biggest of them all. And if you notice right away, I put them from least to greatest. So I can tell right away the biggest number that I circle is 12. So the GCF would be 12. That's greatest common factor. And so that's one way of thinking of it. So we usually do these little number lines for greatest common factor. And so I want to look at now lowest common multiple. And I'll go over in a little bit how you find both of them. So the next part is lowest common multiple. And when you see that, you need to look at the three words. So what they're asking is lowest. So lowest means usually the smallest. Common is the same thing as above, means the same, right? LCM, common. So something that's the same. But multiple is different. Multiple means and it looks a lot like the word. It means something that you can multiply. So in multiple, it has to be at least the number's value. So what that means is that if you're being asked for the lowest common multiple of 12 and 6, it has to be at least 12. That's the minimum requirement because we know it's a multiple. It could be 12, 24, 36, 48, but it has to be at least. A multiple means it has to be at least. It multiplies to be that big. Okay, so let's look at two numbers with least common multiple. So one of the questions they asked on C19 is 4 and 10, and I'm just going to pull from that. So I'm looking at 4 and 10. And so what I would recommend is you do a number line like we did before when we do fractions, 4 and 10. And you would go 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, and 30. And this is really just saying, well, this is multiplied by 1, this is multiplied by 2, this is multiplied by 3, this is multiplied by 4, by 5, by 6, by 7, by 8. And what I do, and it's as you work more and more at math, what you'll notice is that I know this 10, in order for it to be a multiple, it has to end with a 0, right? So I'm going to look for the first number that ends with a 0. Ah, right there. So right away, I know that my lowest, my smallest multiple, because if I kept going on my number line, I would notice that 30 is also a multiple in there. Wait, I said I had a brain fart. That's 32. But I would go 36 and 40. Sorry, guys. I would notice 40 is also a multiple. But when we're being asked for the lowest common multiple, I need to look for the value that's the smallest, which would be 20. So the LCM of 4 and 10 is 20. Capiche? I miss you guys saying kaposh, guys. Okay, so let's look at the worksheet in front of us. And it's going to be the C19, so that's what we're reviewing right now. And the first question is asking for us to find the greatest common factor of 6 and 10. So I need to take my scratch paper, and I'm going to find greatest common factor. And I look at my notes. I know greatest common factor. I'm going to need to do my factors, things that go inside those values. So I'm going to look at 6 and 10. 6 and 10. And I'm going to go 1 times 6, 2 times 3. That's it. 1 times 10, 2 times 5. Is that it? I think so. Okay. Sorry, I know it's a little bit blurry. Okay. So now I'm going to look at them and say, what is my greatest common factor? So I look at 1. That's a common factor. But typically, 1 is not going to be our greatest because 1 is universal. Every pair number has a factor of 1. And usually, we don't pick 1. And that's it, right? So I know my greatest common factor of 6 and 10 is 2. Okay, so I go back to my worksheet. And I'm going to take a straight edge. I'm going to set it up to bring a ruler from work. But that's fine because I always have a scratch paper around. 6 and 2, I'm going to line it up to that one. And I'm going to draw my line straight across. Not curvy, but straight across. And I notice my lines that are across are 8 and 8. So I'm going to go down to my puzzle piece. And I'm going to write 8. Okay. Okay, so I just thought of something that I told you guys. that I was going to teach you a different way too. So for my kiddos that say, do you have a different way? I do have a different way, and I can show you this. Okay, so now we're going to do greatest common factor of 22 and 99. And so as 22 and 99, I'm going to do 22 and 99. And if you remember these beautiful factor trees, we're going to do a factor tree of that. Okay, from 22 and 99, I know those two values, these two numbers are the same, so I know it's going to be a multiple of 11. So 11 times 2. And then this one's going to be the multiple of 11 times 9. Factor trees, these are prime. I'm done. But in this one, I'm not quite done. I have 9. You can multiply 3 by 3. And so these are my factor trees. And so I'm going to do 2 circles that correspond to each value. So this one is going to be for 22, and this is going to be for 99. And so anything that's common, I'm going to put inside. So 11 is common. I have a pair right here. Anything that's not common, I'm going to put to the side. 3 and 3 is not common, and 2 is not common. Okay? And if I multiply straight down, I just erase. That's going to be my greatest common factor. So in this case, my greatest common factor is 11. And if I multiply across, that's going to be my LCM, my lowest common multiple. So 11 times 2 is 22. 22 times 3 is 66. 66 times 3, I was going to try to do it in mental math, but you know what, guys? I'm going to write it down. It's 198. So if they were to ask me, what's the lowest common multiple and the greatest common factor of these, I can right away do a quick circle and do LCM and GCF on one problem. So if that's whatever you choose is best for you. I like this. I kind of enjoy it. Some kiddos might enjoy making these little factor trees, but I kind of like the Venn. It's personal choice. But if I go on to greatest common factor of 22 and 99, I look at 11 and I draw a straight line across. 17 and 8. So I go down to my 17 and I write down the A. Okay, so I'm going to do number 6. I'm going to jump right to 4 and 10. And I already did that, right? 4 and 10 was 20. So I'm going to go 4 and 10. And it's 20. And it's going to be 6A. So I'm going to write down on my bottom 6A. Okay, guys, I'm going to leave the rest as independent practice, and I'm hoping this recorded. If you have any questions or want to know how to do anything on any of these worksheets, please send me a message or comment on any of the videos, and I will get on it and print it out for us in my house, because remember, I didn't bring a packet, so I don't know exactly which worksheets you have. So please do so, comment, and let me know what you're having issues with, and I'm more than happy to help you figure these things out. Hope to see you guys in 2-3 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. Until later, guys. Bye.